Welcome to another video. Today we'll be reviewing Spiral from the Book of Saw. This film came out yesterday and was directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, who has directed some of the previous Saw films, and stars Chris Rock, Max Minghella, and Samuel L. Jackson. Now before we start, hit that like button, subscribe with the post notification bell so you can know if I every video, and let's just start. Let's start talking about the good. So all the actors and action in this film, I thought they were pretty good. They weren't the best. A lot of them were decent. But of course, the main standouts in this film were Chris Rock, Samuel L. Jackson, and Max Minghella was pretty good in this film. The opening sequence is fantastic. It's creepy, it's suspenseful, and sets the overall tone of most of the film. That opening sequence is online, but just everything about that opening sequence drew me in immediately. The lighting, the camera angles, the cinematography in general is fantastic for that opening sequence. And you can feel the pain that guy is going through in that opening sequence. So it is terrifying and a great way to start off this film. The second act of the film is full of mystery and full of suspense. And there are a lot of twists and turns. One big twist in the end, but throughout the film, you're trying to guess who is the new killer. And it's sort of like a murder mystery. In a way, because you don't know who the killer is. So I liked that aspect of the second act of the film. There are some comedic sequences that did land, of course, having to do with Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. And they did land, so some of the sequences in this film were funny. The story. Now, the story is very unique and very different. It's very different from a lot of the stories in the Saw franchise. Now, what happens in the end of the film I'll speak about later, but the story as a whole is unique, but some elements in the story do feel a bit repetitive. The traps. Now the traps are horrifying and they're very brutal. It does not go lightly on the gore and all of that stuff. So this is a Saw film, of course, so if you are squeamish with blood and all that stuff, I highly recommend that you do not check this film out. The cinematography. Now, the cinematography in general is better than a lot of the Saw films. Just the shots, the camera angles, the lighting, it's well done in this film. Now, it's not some of the best cinematography that I've ever seen, but it is definitely up there with James Wan's Saw in terms of cinematography. And the third act of the film. The third act of the film I thought was entertaining enough. It does deliver a major twist. I'm not going to spoil it, but it is. It's in that third act, of course, and when it's revealed, I think the placement of it was pretty well done. Now that's all the good that I have. Now let's move on to the bad. So the twist. Now the twist I thought was okay. It was very basic and it was kind of predictable at times. As you progress throughout the second act of the film, you kind of already know who the killer might be. So the third act of the film, that twist was okay. It was fine. The twist was fine. Now the tone of the film. The tone of the film in some sequences are drastically different from the tone of the opening sequence and a lot of the sequences in this film. Now there are some comedic sequences, and of course Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson are in, obviously, most of those comedic sequences, but I did feel that sometimes in this film the director did not know when a good time was to shift the tones. And you see a major tonal shift in the second act of the film and the third act of the film. The first act of the film, that establishes the characters, the setting, but there are some comedic sequences, like I said, with Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Rock, but they don't blend well with the overall horror tone of this entire film. That's about it. Spiral from the Book of Saw is a decent Saw film. It's a decent horror film. I recommend that you watch this one. If you're a major Saw fan, I don't know what you're going to think of it. I'm not a major Saw fan, but as a horror fan, it was decent. So I'm going to give Spiral from the Book of Saw a C+. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to post notification bell so you know if I have a free video. I'm Peter. Thank you for watching.